something that I've thought about doing for a long time. We're going to get an editor or something like that. Maybe I'll just go through and like try and figure it out myself. Go on YouTube and put that on here. Grab all the nice, all the nice sound bites, clean it up a little bit. I don't know, maybe make a script. Who's to say? But for now, we're going to do something I've wanted to do for a while. It's going to be we're going to do this for the talk show and podcast category because I don't even know if it goes under the anime world territory. Actually, it's going to be the Naruto Chunin Exam Randomizer, where we're going to run with the same 20 contestants. There were 21, but thank you for dropping out, Kabuto. We're going to have the same 20 or so opponents, right? And then we're going to figure out, we're going to randomize who they go up against. And then we're going to like take the story beats as they happen in between the rounds, right? And figure out like, oh, how does this work out actually? Like, and the way that we're going to do that is there are 5 combatants, right? There are rather 10 matches that happen. We're going to run through the first 10 matches. And then once we get done with the first 10 matches, we're going to assume that all elements of the story produced from there. Like, so for what that means is that before, when they get into the Forest of Death, right, the first round Naruto is going to be under the effect of the 5-pronged seal. Sasuke is going to have the cursed seal, but not be trying to like break out of it because Kakashi's going to have applied something to him. Unless Kakashi is doing this, like, unless it's like the first or second match, because then obviously Sasuke doesn't have the seal on him yet, but it still hurts him. And then we're going to be doing things like after the intermission, what happens then? Like, Dosu's still going to die. Like, what's going to happen to the sand invasion, like who's going to give up when. But I hope the point of this is very clear. We're going to get some like really different interactions, right? We're going to get like things that didn't happen. And to show that I'm not cheating it, right, over here on the right, we have the contestants labeled by the first 10 preliminary bouts that they have, the contestants for each. So, for instance, Hinata versus Neji, and then Sasuke versus Yoroi. They're labeled numbers 1 through 20. We're going to use number generator over here, and we're going to generate 20 numbers, but instead we are going to randomize the list. So currently it is 1 through 20 all the way down, so we're going to expand that ever so slightly. That's fine. We're going to expand that ever so slightly, and what we're going to do is, go back here. What we're going to do is we're going to go create the list of 1 to 20, and we're going to randomize the list. Here we go. List of numbers to randomize. 1 to 20. Go. All right, 8, 4, 2, 9. Yeah, okay, here we go. We got the randomized list, and we do have to, numbers per set, we only want 20. Cool. And go. There we go. 10, 11, 13, 1, 16, 7, 9. Yeah, looks like we're doing all right, actually. We got 20 numbers here, roughly. Cool. All right, so we're going to change up the opponent. So it's going to be number 10, 11. Wow, I wonder how this one's going to go. So it's going to be Tamari and Shikamaru, right, for the first one. So we're just going to go ahead and drag this over here, right? We're going to do, it's Tamari and Shikamaru. Then it's 13 and 1, so it's Sasuke and Naruto. I did not make this list on purpose. Like, I did not make it do this thing. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun talking about this. 16 and 7, and then 8 and 9 is gonna be Ino into Ino and 10 for 8 and 9, and then 17 and 18 is going to be Gara and Rock Lee. I do wonder how that's going to go. 14 and 15 is actually Kiba and Hinata. And then 20 and 19 is going to be Dosu and Choji. Again, wow, I wonder how that's going to go. Dosu actually does get to catch the W here before he dies, if memory serves. And then 6 and 12 is going to be Kankuro and Rin. And then it's going to be Yoroi and Zaku. Just keep in mind that this is like nerfed Zaku, right? This is like after he's got one arm blown off, right? And then it's Shino and Misumi. So, and if you don't remember Misumi, don't worry, nobody does. I think it's Misumi. Am I? Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to take this list, drag it over here, then we're going to populate the list over here, right? So, in the order of our contestants, right? So number one is gonna be, ooh, they're actually not gonna be able to like catch the same preliminary hands. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, so this is gonna be a little weird. So we're gonna say like 17. Yeah, 17 is going to be uh Tamari. 16 is gonna be Shikamaru. Then Sasuke and Naruto are 9 and 10. So Sasuke and 10 is Naruto. We're gonna spend a lot of time talking on that one. I'm pretty sure, actually. Sasuke and Naruto. Then it's Neji and Sakura, which will take no time, but dear lord, it's gonna make me laugh. Neji and 12 is gonna be Sakura. And then it's Ino 1010. Let's see. Neji and Sakura, Ino and 1010. Down here somewhere where it doesn't matter, but you know, into again, and then team 20 is going to be 1010. I'm going to have so much fun talking about how 1010 is, anyways, don't want to give too much away. And then, wow, Gara and Rock Lee. Oh, so 11 and 6 is going to be Gara. And if this doesn't play nice, we might have to change a couple of things. And then Gara and Rock Lee, and then we're going to have Kiba and Hinata for 15 and 18. Kiba, I actually don't know where I sit on that one right this second, so it's going to be like really interesting. So Kiba and Hinata, and then we're going to do 7 and 10. Let's see. Come on. Is Dosu and Choji? Wow, I wonder how that one will go. Dosu, Choji, cool. Theme bracket information, and then what happens from here, right? Is we have 6 contestants, and they don't really have a place to go, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4 don't really have any place to go. And 14 and 19 also don't have any place to. Oh, 14 and 19. Okay, so that'll make it easy. 14 and 19 will just be Konkoro and Rin, not that Rin. So Konkoro and 19 will be Rin. And then 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're just going to have to put like Yoroi, Zaku, and so on and so forth. So we're just going to make like Yoroi, and then Zaku. Poor Zaku is in number 4, sure, because he's just the next one on the list. And then Shino and Misumi. So no. Come here. And then Shino, and then team 2 all the way down here is Misumi. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. You have your reset Chunin exams. Now, here's what we have to do, right? So the first thing is we're going to ignore the people in the top bracket. We're just going to grab like, okay, let's save, let's start the bracket. How come here, you. We're going to save. Yep. Sure. We're going to give it 1 second. We're just going to say, we're going to punch this information in. And sign up. Okay. And sign up. And sign up. Bro, no. Okay. Uh, let's see. Come on. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Do 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 do. Diddly do 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 do. All right. So, unfortunately, we got to redo a couple of things, but that's fine, right? That's fine. So we're just gonna call this randomizer tuning exam, single elimination, death battle, and to become tuning question mark, since the tuning exam actually doesn't do a good job of determining who is the tuning. All right, so don't you dare. All right, let's go to participants, and again we've got to go to 16 and 17 will just be Tamari and Shikamaru. There's it's gonna be pretty easy to figure that one out, I think, somehow. 9 and 8. I actually don't know where I sit on Sasuke versus Naruto here, though it is worth considering. And then Neji and Sakura, I know exactly how I feel about that. I'm looking forward to talking about it, actually. Neji and Sakura. And then we have 13 and 20. It's going to be Ino and 10-10. And then Gara and Rock Lee. I don't know how that goes. Maybe you guys do. Gara and Rock Lee. Whoop. Nope. Wrong one. Cool. Yeah, because 3 and 4 aren't, so 19 and 14 is going to be Gara and Rock Lee. I go through all of this to show you guys that I did not like cheese these results to get anything that I want out of them. 11 and 6 are going to be Kiba and Hinata. And then Dosu and Choji are 7 and 10. Gee, wonder how that goes. Dosu and Choji. And then 15 and 18 are Kankuro and Rin. And now all the way up here for Team 1, we have Yoroi. For Team 4, we have Zaku. We're literally making the same bracket that we had before. For 3, we have Shino. And then for 2, we have Misumi. Now we go to the bracket, and we start the tournament. Okay, so first matchup. I don't know, guys. Like it's gonna be. It's hard to say. I feel like, however, Tamari wins. Like I just something in my gut, some disturbance in the universe, right? Like some force of like precognition just tells me that Tamari it's almost like, in fact, this matchup literally happens. Now, there is one thing you could say against Tamari here, which is that Shikamaru actually does beat Tamari. Like, he catches her in the Shadow Clone Jutsu and then gets close enough to strengthen it. But he says he's got like 5 seconds left before it runs out. But I actually don't even think it comes to that. Like, Tamari dodged all of Shikamaru's traps, right? If they fight indoors in the bright lights, there's like even fewer shadows for him to manipulate, right? He only beats Rin in the preliminary because her method of attack creates shadows anyways. They're in like a bleached area, especially if they're the first combatants. There's like nothing that's blown up. There's no hole that already exists. Like, this is the same Tamari who no diffs 10-10. I'm pretty sure she not no, but like medium diffs Shikamaru because there's just nothing. Like there's no even in the one where he quote lost in their official fight, but actually snags her with the jutsu, just doesn't have the wherewithal or the chakra reserves to do anything. He's taking advantage of the fact that the arena has been manipulated by, like, he's constantly taking advantage of the fact that he's on the night side of the shadow of the wall. The wall shadow is expanding as it gets darker and as it gets cloudy. Like, he uses the fact that there's like more height. I guess you could say he might, against Tamari, like, attack if he finds out that she's not like Rin, right? Where he could just zero diff her. Maybe he like uses a kunai to blow up some of the lighting inside of the area, right? But that's not a thing that we really see him do. It's like that just isn't something he does. Um, like, even when, for instance, like, Shikamaru's intelligent, but I don't think he thinks that laterally, right? As weird as his, 200 IQ thing is. And I would basically have to plug my controller up, like, use Shikamaru's skill set and be like, actually, just attack all of the lights in the preliminary room and it'll be fine. Like, this is before Rock Lee drops his weights. Like, there's just literally no imperfection, and we never see Shikamaru do anything that would indicate that he would be able to overcome this. Add in the fact that, like, maybe he would do that, but you would have to imagine scenarios that are smarter almost than Shikamaru to say that he would beat somebody that he loses to when he's given like tons of advantages. Like, the hole from Naruto is an advantage. The fact that the sunlight works with the wall is an advantage, right? He's got all these advantages, and Tamari still wins. And now they're indoors and there's no built-in advantages. Yeah, Tamari like medium diffs Shikamaru in the preliminaries. Like, she actually beats him harder in the preliminaries than she does. Like, then she like barely like maximum diff like wins in the when they do fight, but it's actually easier for her to win in the preliminaries. So easy win for Tamari. Actually, not as like smooth as you would imagine. So this is where I'm gonna get like lots of people pissed. But it's important to note that in the anime, Sasuke, like, he doesn't actually get the cursed seal put on him, like the cursed seal of heaven restrained put on him by Kakashi until like the third battle. So like there's two ways to do this, and both are pretty shit. So on the Sasuke side, like, all we know about this Sasuke is that, yeah, with Curse Seal 1, right, in like Rage Protect My Friends mode, he's faster than like Zaku's Sound Wave, right? And this is the same Zaku who's like not having problems fighting Weighted Lee. So that CM1 Sasuke is faster than a guy who is still keeping up with Gaara's sand. Like, that's crazy. But again, this is before the seal gets placed on him. So we can all agree that, like, if Sasuke's got the seal on him, if Kakashi ups the priority as like, oh, you're fighting Naruto, well, let me just like put this on here so you don't lose your sanity or whatever, right? Then Naruto wins really easily because Naruto is up against a guy who can't use his Sharingan, right? Yeah, he's copied a bit of Rock Lee's moves, but he's not as fast as Rock Lee, right? He's just copying like the form essentially. He can barely do that for one Lion's Barrage kick combo, and he's also not up against a dude. Like, Naruto's stamina is insane. Naruto, like, this same Naruto fights a preliminary Kiba and gets, like, dog double teamed multiple times and gets knocked to the ground and gets his ass beat, like, consistently. And still, this Naruto, before the five prong unseal from Jiraiya, by the way. Meanwhile, Sasuke has to be like, I refuse to lose, not respond. Like, he responds in the Forest of Death like, verbally, basically. like like before cognition sets in to Sakura's wail, and that's what causes him to get up and just like sadistically torture this guy. But this is also Sasuke decided that he's not gonna give in to Orochimaru. He's got like the desire to fight off what corruption Orochimaru is putting on him. He's like going to Kakashi to let this get bound up. So like either way, I don't think he's fighting Naruto. And also, this is like a Naruto. I know that there's like both a bit buffed at this point, but like he doesn't know the Chidori, and Naruto doesn't know the Rasengan. So it's basically the rooftop fight if they're both nerfed. And Sasuke kind of needs Chidori to put Naruto down. Like, he actually needs the power of a Chidori because this like guy who's so taxed for chakra that in like trying to activate his Sharingan will spread the cursed seal, and he doesn't have control over it unless he goes like full sadist, right? Naruto at preliminaries actually, I think, just the only way Naruto loses is if Naruto like if you say the five prong seal not only stops the QB chakra, but it also like makes Naruto too weak to make a dozen clones when he can still like Henge 5 times. I think he Henge's like transforms like 4 times in the fight against Kiba. As he's getting his ass beat, he does the Akamaru like Henge transition, switch, clone. Like he's got enough for his own Lion's Barrage, though admittedly he gets the Lion's Barrage idea from like the Uzumaki Barrage idea from watching the Lion Barrage that Sasuke does in this same preliminary fight. So maybe Naruto like doesn't do that. But another point in Naruto's favor here is we actually have seen Naruto versus Sasuke before they go to the Land of Waves. And this is, both of them pre tree climbing exercise. And so after tree climbing exercise, like Naruto's super winded, Sasuke isn't. And they're still like, Sasuke's a bit better with his Sharingan than Naruto. With his Sharingan, like evolving its Tomo to make it a thing that he can do to react to the Ice Mirror's attack from Haku. And there's no Sharingan for Sasuke here, so there's no precog. Like, the only way he wins is if he just decides that he's gonna give it all up to beat Naruto and let Orochimaru win. And we say that, like, this is pre Kakashi doing anything. And we say that, like, when they see they're fighting each other, Sakura doesn't just immediately like that thing she was doing in the preliminaries where she was like, Sasuke, isn't this a bit too dangerous? Like, you're in no condition to fight. Dude, if she sees that they're fighting each other like this, I'm pretty sure, like, she either gets the fight stopped or Naruto just beats the shit out of Sasuke. Like, I don't think Sasuke wins. The only way you could say it is if you're like, well, technically, by the second fight, he didn't have the seal, but I'm pretty sure that Kakashi was gonna make time to seal up Sasuke before this happens, and he's told Sasuke it like depends on his willpower. And the only time that we see Sasuke like go over his limits and decide that he wants to win regardless is when he like really wants to beat for his friends, he wants to beat Gaara, and it still like incapacitates him to the point that he can't do anything after like 3 Chidori. And I don't think pre-Chidori Sasuke can actually keep down a Naruto who, even with the seal and however much of a nerf that is, right? Yeah, this Naruto like can take way more physical punishment. Like, he's literally healing the wounds off of his body from beating Kiba after getting blasted by Kiba the entire time. The whole time. So like preliminary Naruto versus preliminary Sasuke, it just has to be Naruto like if Sasuke lines barrages and it's ever a question of physical tankiness or how much chakra he has left or any of that, like Naruto just wins. Like Naruto also is a crafty enough fighter that he could like mess up Sasuke anyways. This at this low of a power level, like even if you say Naruto can only make a dozen clones because the five-pronged seal, which we've never known to actually do this, just like nerfed his ability 8 times. Even if Naruto's at like something like, you know, if Naruto's at literally 1% of his chakra, he can only make 10 clones instead of 1,000. He probably still beats Sasuke. Because that's all he needed to beat Kiba. And that Kiba, I think, would have beaten the Yorui that Sasuke beats. Alright, Neji versus Sakura. So, I'm on the opinion that Sakura loses to 10-10, or, like, literal, who is my contender for, like, one of the worst fighters in the event, might actually be the worst fighter in the entire event. Like, Neji is mentally, like, gaslighting Hinata in the preliminaries, and then, like, destroys her, and he's clearly holding back. Like he shows her arm, all of her all of Hinata's tenketsu have been blown shut. Right, they're just destroyed. None of her strikes have done anything. He's got to have like 3 or 4 Jonin stop him from just killing Hinata with a head strike or a second heart strike, right? And like Hinata, this is after Hinata is won against like the most psychologically buffed opponent against her ever. Like the one person she shows the least skill against in this whole event is Neji, right? I don't even know if she beats other people, but I'm pretty sure she could like have a good showing otherwise. And Naruto at the sidelines just like mentally amps Hinata to the point that she wants to like swap hands with Neji. Now Neji is obviously not putting on his serious face. Like he's not using his 64 palms. He's not using his rotation, right? Like none of that. But Neji could like do the same thing he does to Naruto. Like if you think Sakura, I don't even think Sakura could have beaten the Naruto that was fighting Neji before Naruto got all of his before Naruto got his Tenketsu shut down and then tried to blow everything open again with Nine Tails chakra. I don't think Sakura could beat that Naruto. So like there's no chance here. Like the only benefit that Sakura has is that actually Neji's mentality is pretty weak. Like he's got really strong words. He's got a good first mental wall. But after that, like I refuse to believe that Naruto could just like one punch this man and that it wasn't a mental victory as well. So maybe you could say that like I don't know, man, maybe Sakura's inner voice is strong enough to make sure that she doesn't just get like hopelessly demoralized immediately against Neji. But like all she does is make like 2 clones, not even shadow clones, just like regular clones, and attacks Ino, who is not even a close range fighter. Like Sakura is literally a close range fighter. She doesn't have her strength of 100 healings. She doesn't have her chakra control down. She, like, at best has a good ability to break genjutsu, which is never a problem for Neji. Like, Neji's not even trying to do that. So, like, Sakura, even if she throws a kunai, right? Like, this is a kunai barrage from Sakura that Ino could block, and, like, Ino is also like a distance team fighter, not actually a 1v1 battle contestant. Like, so yeah, Sakura again, I don't know why I'm talking about this anymore. Sakura gets like obliterated and there's no contest here. All right. So Ino versus 10-10 is like kind of the reverse of what I just said, right? You know how I was saying that Sakura is just like garbage, gets completely fondled, like just messed up by Neji entirely, like obliterated, nothing there, no strength whatsoever, weakness, like just garbage tier. Like, I know it's funny, but I don't think 1010 getting Omega Diffed by Tamari makes up for the fact that Ino is just not the right fighter for her. Like, Ino is a long distance fighter who has to trap people in a very specific location, right? To use her mind transfer jutsu. And you could say that, like, if Ino mind transfer jutsu's 1010, maybe 1010 just loses. But, like, Ino struggled and had to trap Sakura in order to, like, Ino was trapping Sakura to get the mind transfer jutsu off. And Ino wasn't using a whole lot of chakra. And she's still like, I know a lot of that is Sakura getting like her mental edge to overcome Ino, but all of the other people that are watching that are like, yeah, Ino didn't have a lot of chakra left. So like the only way Ino wins is if start of contest, if like before the fight begins, Ino just like mind transfer Jutsu's 1010 before 1010 is down there, before they're like facing up against one another. And the thing is, if it was like Shikamaru who did this, I feel so bad for Ino Shikachoji. None of them are making out of this preliminary. If Ino like mind transfer Jutsu's, uh, you know what I'm saying? If she like mind transfer jutsu's 1010 at this, like if I put Shikamaru's brain into Ino's body, then yeah, Ino mind transfer jutsu's 1010 when 1010's down there before they start and just says I surrender and then like moves on from there. But Ino is not that smart. Like Ino wasn't capable of figuring out the clone technique of Sakura, who like doesn't is so worthless that she doesn't even like, bro, like when Naruto and Sasuke are fighting, well, I know this is like reverse scaling, but like, listen, I know 1010 gets smacked by Tamari. It's worth saying, like, Tamari is like probably already Chunin level. And 1010 is the worst matchup possible for her. And then add to that that like 1010 is just one of these characters. It's again like I don't think 1010. She might be like the third weakest in the whole event, right? She's no like Rock Lee or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure that 1010 like isn't mentally weak enough to just get talked down to. Ino isn't that kind of fighter anyways. And then 1010 just has range. And it's one of those like styles make fights things, but Ino's whole thing is like Lancaster's Law. It's the worst possible matchup for in reverse because like 1010 has weapons and can fire them off from a distance if we use the anime. And Ino is not mind transferring someone who is in a literal tornado. Also, like, what happens if the weapons are getting launched at Ino and she mind transfers? Like, or does her body just die? Like, I just don't think that Ino has any strength. Like, if Ino were fighting, you know what's even worse? Actually, I think Sakura is probably like the weakest fighter in the room. I know that Ino and Sakura tie, but Ino is a distance fighter, right? Like, Ino, if you told me like Ino versus Yoroi or something like that, like there's not a 0% chance she wins that. And again, there is some chance she beats 1010, but I think 1010's offensive pressure is so much higher than Sakura's was, right? In their battle that it just doesn't even compare. So yeah, 1010 does get a win. Don't worry, 1010, you're not getting too many more of these. Especially given what's next. So, Rock Lee versus Gara. We literally see this fight in the preliminaries. It's literally this fight. Like, I can't not make this fight into Gaara's favor. It's not even like a Tamari Shikamaru thing where in the preliminaries there's different like mechanics going on, right? It's just not that way, okay? It's just that's just not the thing that happens. So it's just gonna be Gara. There is no way to make Rock Lee win, right? Like his body can't handle the fifth gate long enough for him to notice the substitution jutsu. Gara just like toys with him, gets beat around, blocks, like mega destroys him. Like it's just a Gara win. All right, so this one This one we're going to need some thinking on, right? Because this is Kiba versus Hinata, right? And the problem is that this gets really messy really quickly because, like, it depends on how you think the Fang over Fang technique works. So both of them are short range like short range fighters. Kiba's thing is just to, like, how to say, Kiba's thing is he's just gonna use Akamaru in the Fang over Fang and like Tornado Claw, like he's playing Ultimate Marvel vs. 3 Capcom, like UMVC 3 or something. Like he's Wolverine. He's just gonna Tornado Claw Hinata. And the thing is, in the preliminaries, right, we have no indication that Hinata can use rotation. Okay? And in the preliminaries, we also don't have any implication that 64 palms is something she can use, or that it's something that the authors even created yet. Like we're gonna get into a Watsonian versus Doyleist thing later with why the worst fight in Naruto is actually the worst fight in Naruto is not Neji versus Naruto. The worst one is actually Kakazu versus Naruto. We'll get into that later, but basically I don't think Kishimoto had 64 palms invented yet by the time that, Hinata versus Kiba happened. So I don't think she has that ability. Maybe she trains to unlock the 64 palms after this. But like what's interesting is that she swaps hands with Neji, right? And Neji is like completely stronger than she is, right? Hinata like literally has 0 meaningful hits that entire fight, but Neji doesn't toy with her when they're swapping Byakugan. Like he doesn't like no Byakugan, destroy Hinata. It's like the Lancaster's Law thing. Like he's just more accurate. He's just a bit faster. His technique is a bit smoother. Like, and the thing is, all of those things combined mean that Neji is not he's slightly stronger than Hinata in everything, so he dumpsters her. But the problem with Hinata versus Kiba in the preliminaries is that, like, this same Kiba, he doesn't seem to have chakra problems, but he, like, gets a couple of sneaky, like, Naruto gets a couple of sneaky punches on him, and then Naruto, like, kick combos him. I am. We randomized the Chunin exam. Yeah, so, hello. Boop, boop. So, here's the thing, right? It's like Kiba versus Hinata. I'm curious as to what you think. So, like, Kiba versus Hinata in the preliminaries. Like, it's basically Naruto versus Kiba, but imagine instead of fighting Naruto, he fights Hinata. So the one thing I'm thinking of, the only way that this goes well for Kiba is if, like, you say the Gentle Fist is meant as a 1v1 technique, and Kiba's got 2. Like, he's got him and Akamaru. And then the only other way that you could fight it is, like, say that maybe the Tenketsu points that the Gentle Fist blocks off, like the chakra points they block off, maybe they're different for animals than they are for people. So, like, her Gentle Fist doesn't work the first time, and that somehow Kiba and Akamaru, like, one-shot her because she doesn't seem to have very much durability. Like, I don't think, like, first off, I know it's the Naruto Hinata thing, but like, if someone who wasn't Naruto, of Naruto's strength, just like punches Hinata in the face and she takes it, I don't think she's getting back up from like two or three of those. You know?
Let me tell you something real quick.
Sure.
The Gentle Fist isn't a 1v1.
Okay.
Byakugan is multiple style.
True. I mean, Neji's capable. Neji's.
All Byakugan
Yeah.
is multiple style.
So here's the thing: is that like Neji didn't have unless you think that like Hinata's eyes are just weaker. Neji's eyes were able to see the chakra networks of all of Naruto's like full Kage Bunshin shadow clones. So like she could probably still see the Tenketsu points of Akamaru and Kiba transformed as Akamaru. Like they might literally be in different locations.
Yeah, she'd still destroy him.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that the only problem I have is that like if do you think she gets hit by a fang over fang? Like if Kiba does like a wolf fang over fang, do you think that it hits Hinata? And if it does, do you think she ever gets back up? Okay.
Like, she's got way more. The thing is, like, part of that is
Yeah.
Hinata is more flexible than Naruto, and at the time of the Chunin exams, they
Yeah.
are comparably at the same speed.
Sure. Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even considered speed. Oh, have a good one, by the way. Bye. So here's a good one to consider. I hadn't thought of is like Naruto and Kiba are roughly the same speed. The only time that Kiba has shown like outspeeding, it's hard to say it's even outspeeding because the Fang over Fang, like Naruto can't dodge, but he's also taking damage. So maybe the Fang over Fang just is fast, but like Hinata, you got to think that like Neji's hand speed, it's shown to be comparable to Hinata's. He's just more accurate and getting in more hits. So like it's not shown that like Hinata versus Neji in the prelims, Neji's just like obliterating her with blistering speed, right? He's just like outspeeding her to death. And you got to think that like that means that give it, a little weaker, but she's got to have like, oh, hey, Rain, how's it going? So what we're debating right now is Kiba versus Hinata, specifically in the preliminaries of the Chunin exam. And basically what it comes down to for me is this, like Hinata versus Hinata versus Neji. It's not Neji's more accurate. Neji's hitting more Tenketsu. Neji wins because he's like maybe his eyes are a little bit better or more fully developed, but he wins like overwhelmingly because it's the same style. He's just better in every way. But when you watch the fight and you read it in the manga, Neji and Hinata seem to have the same combat speed, right? Like it's not shown that Neji's like launching 64 palms and Hinata's like getting two attacks and then just getting diffed, right? So you got to think Hinata's hand speed is Neji's hand speed minus like 1%. And if that's true, like the only way that Kiba wins is if you say that Wolf Fang over Fang is faster than Hinata's combat speed and that Hinata doesn't get back up after getting hit by it. So you have to assume Kiba hits Hinata and then that Hinata's stamina is too bad. I actually think Hinata wins this. Like, I don't think it's impossible for Kiba to win, but when you put into the context that, like, well, Hinata has Neji's hand speed and has a Byakugan. Like, the only other thing is maybe Kiba and Akamaru, because they're ninja dogs when they transform, like, maybe they have different Tenketsu points, and maybe the Gentle Fist is prioritized to fight people, not dogs. But you could also say that like maybe the Gentle Fist is trained to hit Tenketsu in a defensive manner. And if it's trained to do it in a defensive manner, and it seems to be, right, like Neji seems to be like wiling out of character when he's hitting Naruto with the 64 palms. He's like really going ham. It looks like the Gentle Fist is more soft. I think Hinata, like, if Kiba doesn't Fang over Fang one shot her, he just loses, right? Like, he doesn't have the endless chakra that would allow him to get back up. And Hinata, like, it's worth noting, all of Naruto's chakra points were blocked off by a pretty savage 64 palms, and he stood up, which looks kind of wild, right? But it's like maybe Naruto just has that much chakra. But Neji does the same thing to Hinata, and it's not until he heart palm strikes her that she coughs up blood. So, like, maybe she just literally has like Neji's stamina as well. Okay, you know what? I'm convincing myself. I think 8 or 9 out of 10 times Hinata wins, especially because it's the preliminary, right? They both fight in the preliminary. There's no way to say that like one of them would have gotten stronger. These are both people who lost the previous fight. Okay, here's another one. Rain, you're gonna love this. It's gonna be really hard to tell. It's the preliminaries, right? And it's Dosu versus Choji, and they literally fought in the preliminaries. And Choji didn't even want to fight. And it is cool. Like, I do wish Choji got to fight some other people. Like, I think Choji actually gets to fight people like Kiba pretty interestingly, right? I think that Choji actually has like 10-10 maybe. Like, he's got some people he could beat. This is just not one of those people, right? Like, he just literally transforms. He knows about Dosu's sound-based attacks, transforms him into a form that blocks his eardrum, and Dosu wins by shocking the frig. It's so wild, dude. Dosu wins by messing up this like traveling sound through the water in Choji's body, which is like, what the fuck? Like, Dosu just smacks him. It's crazy, dude. It's so good. All right, final battle of the preliminaries, right? Before like we just say some of these people just maybe we'll do, because what was that? That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, yeah. We're just gonna have to like get the little baby ones right here out. We're gonna have to cheat and call those the preliminaries because we had 10 fights, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, um, so we're gonna have to have like 9, 10 probably come from the top for the people who haven't fought yet. It's just gonna be really weird. So here we go. Konkoro versus Rin. Now, if you remember, maybe you don't, Rin is like, she's the sound-based ninja that Shikamaru fights. And you've got to understand that, like, Shikamaru just seems to have this thing where, one, he fights women, and two, he fights people who have like a power set that should just make his own impossible, but he wins anyways. And that's important because Rin is fighting someone here. So, like, Kankuro in the prelims fights normally under normal Naruto in the real Naruto series. Kankuro fights a dude who is like set up for failure because Kankuro fights a dude whose whole thing is trying to use his body parts to choke you to death, and Kankuro just traps him in a coffin and crushes his bones to dust and wins. Rin is like, she's using a bell, like needle bell thing, where she throws needles that have bells on them, and then she throws needles mixed in that don't have the bells, right? So you're conditioned. But her conditioning goes an extra layer where, like, rather than throw the senbon or the needles that don't have a bell, and then get to the point where she tricks you because actually she's got like the ability to use the bell, and they're like genjutsu. It's a sound-based genjutsu. It's like one of the two or three instances of sound-based genjutsu we actually see in like the whole series. And Kankuro doesn't have any kind of defense against that. But what's noteworthy is that his opponent, like, Kankuro literally has a second puppet there that he can use the same trick on. So, like, also notice this might be a bad opponent for Rin because Rin fights Shikamaru and she thinks she's the smart one with, like, this Pavlovian conditioning needle thing into, like, Genjutsu Wombo combo trap. And Shikamaru just, like, wins by perverting the intention or the weakness of her bells having a line attached to them. He, like, just notices that. And that's how Kankuro beat his last opponent too, right? Is Kankuro beat Misumi because Misumi thinks he's got to win, and then surprise, Kankuro's not really there. And if Kankuro is capable, like, I know in Shippuden, Kankuro's a joke, right? Kankuro fucking sucks. He's not good until he gets the war arc. Then he gets Sasori's puppet body, which is like not even necessarily the strongest part of Sasori. Like, it's so bad for him, dude. It's so anti-good. But Kankuro, like, in the manga and especially in the anime, he's capable of using that puppet so well that the puppet looks like it's literally Kankuro. Like, Misumi is physically touching Kankuro and doesn't realize that that's not actually Kankuro, it's a puppet. And if that's the level of deception and mastery Kankuro has, and he's inside of the puppet body, you know what I mean? If Kankuro's literally hiding inside of the puppet body to trick Misumi, there's no way that doesn't work on Rin. Rin's not physically brawling with Kankuro's puppet. And even someone physically brawling with the puppet doesn't realize that it's fake. So, like, Rin, I think, just gets tricked the same way. I think she goes through literally the same thing that she does with Shikamaru, where he's like, oh, it's a conditioning thing. It's like the most basic of ninja things, you fucking pleb. And then Rin reveals the surprise that this is a sound-based genjutsu. And then I just think that Kankuro, like, uses his puppet and sends needles and poison right to Rin's body and just destroys her. Because he's literally inside of the puppet cocoon where his puppet should be. He probably has protection from sound because we don't see anyone except Shikamaru get affected by the auditory genjutsu, right? So it's not affecting like the audience members. It's like very like up close and personal and like a 1v1 almost assassination technique basically. I just don't see how this possibly in any world goes well for Rin. Like, I think Kankuro does to her what Shikamaru does to her. And it's not even out of left field because he literally does the same thing. Like, he literally does the same thing to his one opponent that Shikamaru does to Rin. It's like so disgusting. So give me a second. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to say that, like, yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. Kankuro does beat Rin. Again, I think Rin is stronger than no diff in preliminaries. Rain, I didn't know you liked this content. I'll be honest with you. It's news to me. So there are normally 10 matches for the 20 of them, but it doesn't work that way with this bracket. It just like does not play nice, right? So we have to like figure something out from there. Oh, here's some of the other fights, by the way. And Rain, if you want to debate any of these, if you want to like come into Discord or a call or something, we can just talk about this. I'm also down for doing that. But for right now, I'm very hungry. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Oh man, Lithuanian apple bread is so good. One second. All right, so here we go. On to the next fight. As I turn on the lights, grab myself a monster, crick it open. All right, here we go. We're gonna take this and make this a YouTube video, by the way. After this, I'm just convincing myself. So, and this is so good. So, here's the next battle, right? So, we kind of have to get 1 and 2 those over. So the next one we're gonna do is this Yoroi versus Tamari, and dude, Yoroi is like one of the most dog shit combatants in the Chunin exams. Like, how did this dude survive the Forest of Death? Like, literally nobody knows, nor can I be convinced that it was by anything other than author fiat. So Yoroi's his whole thing is that he was basically sent as a fuck you agent from Orochimaru, specifically against Sasuke. Because think about it, like Sasuke in the main timeline, right? In the normal series, Sasuke has been hit by the curse seal of heaven. He's got Kakashi's like barrier on his curse seal, on his curse mark seal, right? So that he can't use it. If he uses his Sharingan, it actually pulls so much chakra that it's starting to like pain his body to use it and release the seal. So this like Sasuke has no chakra to speak of, and he will be in physical pain and start unleashing the seal if he loses too much chakra. So no Sharingan. Sasuke can't use any like he can't use Phoenix Flower or any like big fire jutsu or anything like that. He's got no ability to do any of that stuff. He's so drained of chakra. It's like he's a dead man walking. The only benefit that he has, and it's not compensatory, it's not sufficient to overcome the deficit, is that Sasuke has like he learned enough of Rock Lee's natural like taijutsu skill to make the Lion's Barrage, which is like his imitation of the primary Lotus. And Yoroi, like, with all of these advantages, a chakra starved opponent who can't use any ninjutsu and can't use his Kekai Genkai Sharingan, like, and get physically, like, trying to use his willpower and chakra to restrain Orochimaru's strongest curse mark. And Yoroi is gifted all of this on a platter. And he even has the ability to drain chakra. Yoroi literally has the perfect weapon to exacerbate all of main timeline Sasuke's problems. Every single one of them. And he gets folded by, like, an exhausted, shitty attempt of a primary Lotus from a dude who can't open a gate. Like, Yoroi is fodder, dude. Yoroi is like, there's F tier fighters in the Chunin exams, right? In this stage, but man, like, Yoroi is like Tamari. Yoroi is like Tenten. Except Yoroi has no ability to use anything at range. So he's literally worse than Tenten. And who did Tamari kill? Like, just break the actual back of in one panel. Bro, one panel. Tamari obliterated this 10-10, who I think could take your white. Nah, just kidding. To get out of here. Like, Tamari wins. Fucking negative difficulty. Probably gets mentioned in a speech bubble, not even depicted on panel. Like, just gone. All right. Now, I know we were just talking mad shit about her. But 10-10 versus Zaku. Actually, like, not uninteresting. Okay, so here's the thing. I bear with me on this. It's not uninteresting. And the reason I say that is simple. Okay? Like, so 10-10 has all these weapons she can use. In the manga, she just gets beat in one panel. Like, she's garbage. But in the anime, we've seen her go into, like, a cyclone where she throws a bunch of weapons, and jokes about anyone could do that besides. Like, she seems to know how to throw all of these weapons. And she's fighting against a guy who's actually a gal. She's fighting against Tamari, and Tamari just, like, uses her fan and the native wind jutsu that's in the fan, which is cracked out of its mind, by the way. The fact that, like, wind jutsu is just a thing that Tamari has, like, this ninja tool that can block metal, but also just, like, has forest clearing levels of wind destruction in it. Right? So 10-10, like, has no chance against that fighter. She's never gonna get to close range, right? She's a close range fighter who can throw things at range up against someone who has a wind release or like wind jutsu that blows away her attempts to throw things with just overpowered force. And, like, Tamari is no joke, dude. Like, Tamari's a monster. And Tamari, here's the thing, Tenten's up against someone in Zaku who's, like, not that strong. So the thing is that Zaku can do kind of the same thing with sound that Tamari could do with wind. And Zaku gets, like, kind of folded by Shino, right? Kind of wrecked. But Shino literally, not only is he fighting a one-armed guy, Shino is like, how to say? Shino is like proto Gara in that Shino can use his bugs in a pretty similar way to Gara's sand, except that they die. They die. They're not. They have to be sentient. Like, they can get killed by gas. All of this shit. Zaku literally is fighting Shino, and Shino's bugs are, like, more Gara sand like than 10-10 weapon throw like. And Zaku literally, like, uses his broken arm to defend against a two-sided attack, and it's only because Shino's brain is massive that the bugs literally get inside and stop him. I actually think Tenten cannot win this fight. Like, Zaku, even with one arm, I think he just one arms Tenten. And let's say Tenten, like, has a multi directional attack, right? Let's say that she, like, somehow can, like, win Tornado, like, go into that tornado and she could just, like, change the direction. It's not even shown that she could do this, but let's pretend that she could, like, change the direction of the tornado and throw things 360 at Zaku, which she is not shown to be able to do, right? There's no indication that she can do that. There's literally a time skip before we see her do something of that scale, right? And even then, she doesn't do a thing that is that. All right, so we've got all this. Let's say that Tenten could do that. Zaku still just like grabs his broken arm, chads it out, and blows all the weapons away. Now, the only thing you could say is that, like, maybe, maybe, maybe. And you'd have to stretch. One sec, eating bread. Like, maybe, possibly, if you're like trying to write fan fiction for how this fight could go in her favor, you would say that, like, something like Zaku used sound, Sasuke dodged the sound in CM1. Everyone there was a bit like Lee is a bit surprised by that because he was kind of getting messed up by the sound. So maybe Tenten, like, remembers what happened to Lee when Lee fought someone like either Zaku or someone with a skill set like Zaku, like a sound based, you know, when Lee was fighting Zaku, right? And she knows what he can do with the sound, right? And maybe she, like, is learned to catch up to that speed, but there's not a month between these things that have happened like there will be. This is still the preliminaries. And Sasuke cleanly dodging that and breaking Zaku's arm is treated not just sadistically, but like a feat of power. But, like, he is monstrously more powerful than he used to be, right? Like, CM1 unreleased sadistic Sasuke just, like, puts moves on everyone there in a way that's intimidating to everyone except Neji, right? And they think they have to go, but they didn't have to go against 10-10 or any of that other team. I think Zaku just wins, dude. I think he literally just Tamaris her. I don't think he zero panels her, right? But, it'll be a brief skirmish. And then 10-10 will. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I saying? And then, yeah, and then Zaku wins. All right. And the final one, and then because this cuts. Yeah. Because this cuts to 8 from here, we're going to do both of these, and then we'll say that, like, 2, 4, 6, 8. We'll say that this one would happen off screen, dude. 100%, like, bro. So, are you convinced? No. Okay. So you think Zaku just off screens 10-10 is just like forced of death negative diff? All right, so the problem here is that, like, Shino versus Gaara, I hype Shino. I think Shino's gas. I think if you run this fake, like, Chunin exams multiple times, Shino actually has some paths to get very far, right? Shino is clearly, because he's got like version point 0.5 of Gaara's power set with the sand, with his bugs. And then he's got like version point 0.5 of, or maybe even like version 0.9 like of Shikamaru's intelligence. Like Shino is always shown being calm. He's always shown like having a plan, fighting people intelligently, like treating things with like Aburame intelligence gathering and like sneaky moves and shit like that. The problem is that like he's like got the wrong opponent here, dude. Like even if you think, bro, okay, all right. Here's what you would have to do, right? You would have to think that even if, right, I'm a like mega wank Shino for a second just to show the point, right? Because this is the same Gara that fought Fifth Gate Lee and didn't die. So you would like, even if you think, let's give Shino like the most mega wank ever. Let's say that like Shino is his bugs are Gara's sand level. And Shino's bugs, for whatever reason, they don't die when Gara like sand coffins them or crushes them or pushes them into a wave. They're just indestructible bugs, right? Let's just say that like Shino has indestructible bugs that match Gara's sand. Okay? Which is pure wank and not true in the slightest. And then you say that like Gara goes ballistic, okay? Right? And Shino is just the smartest dude in the fight. The only way, even with all of these like mega wank things, is if you say that like the final thing you would have to say is how does Shino win? Is like maybe Shino's chakra is so strong it can overcome Gara's like post death chakra mother sand, get under his skin, and then drain his chakra that way. Even if you said all of that, bro, we literally saw what happened when like Gara got pissed. He just summoned Shukaku, and then like Shino is not beating a Shukaku. Even if you think that like Shino just chakra drains Gara to where there's nothing left, like some Naruto, like some Neji versus Naruto shit. That just means there's the tailed beast comes out and Gara steps on Shino and it's all over. And that's ignoring that like none of those other advantages happen. Like Gara's mother sand literally like protects him against CM2 what's his name? Bone guy, whose name I can't remember. Oh shit. You remember you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, sound elite of the sound four. Who's the elite guy of the sound four? I know the name, I just don't know the name offhand. Come here, you. Do do do. Who? Kimimaru. There we go. Okay, yeah. So, like Gara Sand protects him against frigging Kimimaru. Like, there's no way. There's no way Shino's bugs. One, they're not indestructible. He can run out of bugs, right? Short but honest, sad but true. I think Gara's sand, bro, it might as well because like here's the problem. Gara has more sand than Shino has bugs. Gara's sand is inanimate. Shino's are living creatures that can die. Gara has a tail. Yeah, Gara has a tailed beast to back him up if everything goes badly. Like, I think so. I like talking about it because it's so interesting. I think this is Lancaster's law. Like, I think Shino is just fighting like the version 3 of himself here. Like, if Shino had a tailed beast, he would be Gara. You know what I'm talking about? Like Gara just smacks, dude. This is actually probably a cool fight to watch, but this is one of those fights. Like if we actually got this fight, it would be like Shino or some, Kakashi or someone outside would off the fight, or Kurenai would be like, he's fighting the worst possible opponent, and Naruto would be like, "What do you mean?" And it looks like the bugs in the sand are even, and then all of a sudden, like, all the bugs explode with sand particles, like, flying out of them like little nades. It would be like some like Itachi versus Sasuke fireball jutsu clash where like they're clearly a match, but one is definitely stronger. Oh, bro, Gara just like fucking face roll. Gara crushes a lot of people. Like, so there's like, up here, by the way, I'm sure if when I upload this to YouTube, I'm gonna get some shit about Naruto versus Sasuke preliminaries being a Naruto win. But this is another one of those that's like, man, I want Shino to win, but Gara punches down so fucking hard. Okay, so now we have the time skip. And what happens in the time skip is, uh, let's see, do any of our contestants just? Oh no, we have Kankuro versus Misumi. Um, Kankuro literally beats Misumi in the actual Chunin exam preliminaries. So like, enough said about that. Okay, that's just over. That's just done. So here's what happens in the time skip. Right, Naruto gets the 5-prong unseal put on him by Jiraiya. He learns. He's got the Rasengan. Right? Sasuke gets the Chidori, but Sasuke's already been eliminated by Naruto. In fact, you could say that like Sasuke getting eliminated here by Naruto is immediately it like advances the Sasuke retrieval arc. So we might not even get the rest of the tournament. Like Sasuke might just decide that he's leaving right the hell now because losing to Naruto because of this curse mark is like impossible for him to like deal with or handle, right? We've got the water tower thing where we see that like Naruto's Rasengan does some real serious damage. All right, so we're going, and then we've got we got a bunch of things. We actually have some interesting fights now. Um, Interesting, but not like insane. Okay, so this one, listen, man. The thing is, right? If we're doing this in like properly written mode, okay, and I know this is not what people want to hear, right? People don't want to hear that. There's only two possibilities I can deal with Kishimoto. He either forgets what people can do because obviously he's not he's interested in telling a story. He's not interested in having a death battle where everyone shows like their full potential, right? In terms of combat, unless their name is Sasuke and or Deidara, right? He's not interested in doing that. He either forgets what the characters can do, and the characters just fight worse than they actually should narratively or by virtue of their skill, or he has a plot he's trying to run through. So here's the thing. I don't have a plot I'm trying to run through, right? Because if I were like Kishimoto trying to run a plot through Brain, right? Naruto wins. Naruto has to win, right? But here's the thing is like Naruto Naruto's just not equipped to handle this fight, dude. He's just not equipped. Like, here's the thing: Naruto. I know he fought Neji, right? That his first month back, right? He's got the 5-prong unseal done by Jiraiya. He can access the Nine Tails chakra, a little bit. He can summon Gamma Bunta. Here's the thing: if this fight happens the same way that Naruto versus Neji does, but there's no like Kishimoto needs Naruto to win, Naruto loses, okay? Because Naruto was against Neji. Neji has the Byakugan, a better one than Hinata. Neji has 64 palms. He's raged out against Naruto. He definitely wants to beat the shit out of Naruto and win. You know what I'm saying? He wants to crush Naruto. And he is the ultimate anti-taijutsu guy. Everything Naruto does is worthless, and he has rotation. So it's supposed to be this impossible matchup. But it's an impossible melee versus melee matchup, which means that, like, how to say, Naruto can even when he gets the Ninetales chakra, like his kunai swing with Ninetales chakra matches rotation, and then he gets to one punch Neji, but it's I hate because of other people on the internet. All right, this is going to YouTube, so we're not gonna say out loud, but you can imagine who. I don't like using the word implies or you can infer because that tends to be a gateway towards which people just shove their fan fiction down your throat. What I'll say is there was a chance that Naruto could overpower with Ninetales Neji and then one shot, but there's this due to the way Neji speaks afterwards, the dreaded word, there is an implication that all of the damage Neji took from Naruto's punch, it was more psychological or mental than physical, right? Because yeah, we haven't seen Neji get his ass beat, but this is important, right? Because this is the same. We gotta like set up the fighters, and the further down we get, the harder this matchup gets. Because now we have Tamari. This Tamari is almost as smart as Shikamaru. Almost. She's like smart enough with Shikamaru to brawl with him on a brain level, right? She can perceive the multitude of his threats. Now, she does get a bit lucky with things like identifying the kunai and the balloon, right? The shadow doesn't spawn right on top of her, otherwise, that would just be like over, you know what I'm saying? But it's possible. She's like, contending with Shikamaru's brain somewhat. Neji never brains like is out thinking. He's never out minding Naruto. In fact, he minds him too much, if that makes sense. So the thing is, Tamari can like outthink Naruto. She's not rage animaled like Neji was, to where she wants to ignore reason and take his challenge pridefully head on. No, like Naruto also, how does he get close? Like Shikamaru never had to get close. He just had to get close enough. Naruto has the literal hand distance feat of like the hand distance feat of the Rasengan, right? He can make a lot of clones, but there's no place to store or hide the clones. Naruto also seems to have like a range around which he can generate the clones. Like he can't generate a clone on the opposite side of the stadium behind Tamari. So it really comes down to like there's also the thing of like the only time we see Naruto summon Gamma Bunta, because he could, right? He could summon Gamma Bunta and just crush Tamari and make it so that all of her movement doesn't matter. Like her ability to fly on her fan won't matter at all. Her ability, which she doesn't probably even have at this stage of the Chunin exams, right? Her ability to glide on the fan meaningfully just doesn't matter if he summons Gamma Bunta and crushes her. The problem is, who does Naruto summon Gamma Bunta against or on what occasions, right? And you've just got to think, like, I'm not taking future Naruto uh, feats into account here. I'm trying to, like, pin down the restriction. And if we look at the restrictions, right, Naruto, when he's about to literally die from a very visible, like, spike pit trap, and he's gonna die, he summons Gamma Bunta. Okay? When he's fighting Gaara to protect the whole frigging village, and he's up against his ideological opposite, and he's protecting his friends specifically, who he knows, like, there's a hand binding up Sakura and Sasuke has just been wrecked. He knows he's specifically guarding his friends, abstractly guarding the village, and he has a personal beef with Gaara's mentality. That, and he has Ninetales chakra. Then he summons Gamma Bunta. Uh, against, even though it would have saved his life, didn't summon Gamma Bunta, he didn't summon Gamma Bunta against Sasuke. He didn't summon Gamma Bunta against Kimimaru, right? He summons it against Pain, right? But it seems like just people abstractly wishing harm to him isn't sufficient. It has to be like a concrete threat to his entire life and his friends, but mostly his friends and his village, right? To the things he wants to protect outside of one survival instinct. And I don't think Tamari, listen, I'm not Kishimoto. I don't have to make Naruto win. I just think that the only way he wins is by doing a thing that there is no evidence he would have the means to do. Tamari's probably not gonna kill Naruto, right? Tamari is probably not going to, unless she like starts monologuing about how they're going to go through the Konoha Crush plan and kill the Hokage. He's not summoning Gamabunta, right, to stop that. And she's not stupid enough to do that. Like, this is a group where like Gaara's gonna go off the boil, sure, but you know who's not? Tamari, who like always seems to have the words to soothe Gara, not what's Konkoro, like wouldn't do that. He literally doesn't fight someone so that he hides what's going on for the Konoha Crush arc. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no way Naruto wins this fight, dude. Like, I'm sorry, there is negative way. It's just not a thing, dude. Like, it's literally not a thing. What do you think, Rain? Like, do you think there's any way Naruto wins this? Like, Naruto, super short range fighter. He's got the Rasengan, but he's like physically the equal of a Sasuke who has yet to train to have Rock Lee's taijutsu. You know what I mean? Like, he's like pre Rock Lee taijutsu Sasuke's physical equal. I'll be honest. I don't think. I think Sasuke might win with Chidori, but that's just because like Chidori is a busted technique. But what I'm getting at is Naruto has no chance, dude. Naruto has no chance. Like, he just does not have. It doesn't matter if he has enough chakra. You know, to Tamari doesn't have chakra problems against Shikamaru, and she has enough chakra to like wind release a forest not that long after the Konoha Crush. I don't think she was like studying to use that technique during the Konoha Crush for the Sasuke retrieval arc. I actually think it's just Tamari's win. Like, I'm sorry, Naruto. You are the main character. I'm not stopping you from being the main character. And you probably get like a few chapters to actually have this fight. But without Kishimoto's hand up the actual ass of the story to manipulate it so that the titular character does well, I don't think there's any chance, dude. There is no chance. Easy enough. All right, Neji versus Zaku. So, like, this shit is just so over for Zaku, right? It's so unbelievably over for Zaku. Zaku, if you don't remember, is the guy with like the sound cannon arms that gets one of his arms broken by Sasuke and then loses against the frigging like loses against Shino in the preliminaries. The thing is, like, Zaku is just not actually the broken arm and stilted movement is actually going to be the death of him against Neji. Like, I don't think full health Zaku could win this fight, but that would be interesting to talk about, right? Because when Zaku, Rin, and Dosu see 1010 Neji and Lee, right, as they're fighting Naruto, Sakura and the sleeping Naruto and the sleeping Sasuke, right? The cursed Sasuke and the comatose cursed Sasuke and the I'm sorry I just saved everyone's fucking ass Naruto, right? But I've also been palm restricted. Like, Dosu, Zaku, and Rin, like, yeah, Zaku or maybe it's Dosu are fighting somewhat well against I think it's Dosu. He's fighting somewhat well against First Gate Lee, right? Like the sand cushion stops him from just having his spine snapped over backwards. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty good, but they do look a little worried when Neji is on the scene and just watching them, and they get a little nervous, and they just bolted out of there when CM1, like Mark 1 release Sasuke is there and snaps Zaku's arm. And I actually think that like that CM1 Sasuke doesn't beat Neji. Maybe we'll get to that, right? Maybe we'll like have that as a fight. Actually, there's no scenario in the Chunin exams that that would happen. Now that I think about it, there's like literally no chance that that would happen. Just because Sasuke like gets his curse mark of Seal of Heaven locked up by Kakashi, and at that point he still wants to hold it off. But basically, what I'm getting at is, I think Neji's actually too powerful. And I think because of his Byakugan, he's got like, remember in part one, the Byakugan is stronger than the Sharingan. It's like treated with reverence equal to or exceeding the Sharingan. So the Byakugan, like being able to see the Tenketsu and being able to see it like line up through the arms, Neji's not a moron, dude. Like he fights like a moron, but he's not actually a moron. Like we see him when he fights against the Sound 4, he actually is pretty intelligent. And it's really hard to say that he's not going to see like this short to medium range broken armed fighter Zaku, right? Line up some of the Tenketsu in his arms and be like, oh yeah, he's gonna attack with a sound cannon. Or, there's something weird about his Tenketsu. Like, I actually think Zaku just like having the broken arm is actually the thing that makes this negative difficulty for Neji. I think full health Zaku, I can't believe I'm turning into a Zaku hype beast, but I think full health Zaku would force more out of Neji than like Naruto did in that fight. I know Naruto won that fight, and I don't think Zaku would win that fight. But again, that's because Naruto's name is Naruto and he's the main character. So, yeah, I think Zaku loses. I think the broken arm, like he'll never get the chance to like break the arm cast and show what he can do by firing two of them. I don't think Neji will give a flying shit. There's also the question of like, do you think that Neji can just use rotation on sound based attacks? And it's like, I mean, maybe. But also, is Zaku ever going to get into hand to hand combat with Neji? Let's say they start in melee range, right? Is Zaku ever gonna like do that thing where he's got the sound going through his guard and then hit somebody to disorient them through their eardrums? That shit's never happening to Neji. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Neji is just kind of a Chad. He's just gonna get it done. Ash. Down. Down. You not get anything up from over there? I'm coming for you. All right. Next one. Um, okay, so here's the thing. Like, we could try and give Hinata some benefit of a doubt because we obviously never see post 1 month training time skip Hinata for the Chunin exams. Get down. Ash. So we actually don't see, like, what quite she could do. The problem is that this is just not a contest, dude. This is actually not a contest. Like, Hinata, I was having to rack my brain to guarantee that Hinata could, like, fight Kiba. Because, you know, Wolf Fang over Fang, speed, two of them, non human Tenketsu. Bro, you know what's worse than dog 10 chakra points? Sand chakra points. Hinata is not gentle fisting the sand. Although that is a very funny way of describing that. Hinata's not gentle fisting the sand. We don't see a rotation out of her. Like, even if she did rotate, I'll be honest, I think rotation might, like, block a sand wave one time. I don't think it blocks all of the sand wave because of the weakness of rotation, of, like, that quarter-sized hole on the back of somebody's, like, nape of their neck or whatever it is. You know, it's still possible for something sufficiently fast to get there, like, yeah, the sand isn't keeping up with weightlessly, but the hand gesticulating Gara seems to have like an effect like Byakuya does in Bleach, where it seems to move a bit faster. And I think that if Gara just like crushes Hinata with sand, even if she's rotating, she can't rotate forever. Like, even if we buff Hinata to have a rotation that lasts as long as it did for Neji when he was up against the spider of the Sound 4, right? Where he, like, the arrow guy. Even if Hinata could rotate for that long, it's not forever, dude. I actually think too, like, just like also Hinata's mental is not very strong, right? And her sense of horror and disgust is pretty well developed, if that makes sense. She's got a lot of native ability to be like horrified or sad or like very emotional. And Neji was able to exploit that via being family and knowing all the right things to say. Gara could just sand coffin people. Like, Gara just fought Rock Lee, literally, even in this version of the tournament, right? Like, even in this version, she gets to see Rock Lee, her teammate, get, like, he's bones crippled, just crippled against Gara, her literal teammate. If you think that's not going to be flashing back into her mind the whole time, and like suppressing her ability to do her normal shit, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, Gara is gonna, Hinata might even surrender, dude. And honestly, that would be for the best. Gara wins. This is not a question. All right. Alrighty then. Okay. So we are almost at the semifinals. Dosu versus Kankuro. All right. Dosu, the cool bandage guy. Actually, we do by default give this to Kankuro. And that's because in story, Dosu like tries to kill Gara or something like that and just gets completely murked. Like, he gets murdered. So there's no question as to like what would happen of Dosu versus Gara. He gets destroyed by Gara, literally in this fight. Like, if we assume that this is post, like this is the first fight, like Kankuro versus Misu. Let's say that like Dosu versus Choji was the prelims, and then this is the first Dosu fight after prelims. He literally got killed by Gara. So yeah, Kankuro just wins by default. And we actually have all three of the sound trio in here. Even though, I'll be honest, I think there are losable matchups in here for Tamari. Like, very, very losable matchups in here for Tamari. And I actually, well, not many, but a few. And I think that Kankuro is the weakest of the three. So, Tamari versus Neji. And this is hard, dude. This one's a stylistic matchup in hell. Okay, I actually don't even know like where we start. So the easy place to start is like, we know what they can all do. This is the same Tamari that beat Shikamaru, right? So this is like Tamari that beat Shikamaru. So she's not as smart as Shikamaru, right? But she is able to contend with him, but can't one-shot him. It's easy to say that like Neji's gotta have better physical durability feats than Shikamaru, dude. Like, I know, haha, one punched by Naruto. Neji was literally just swapping hands the whole time with Hinata. I know he didn't lose any of his Tenketsu, but and this is like Neji's mentality Tamari's not ever challenging Neji's mentality, right? Like Naruto hitting that punch shattered the illusion of invincibility. Like he was mentally like weak against talk no jutsu. Tamari's not exploiting any of that. The thing too is that like Naruto is blazing around in a so Naruto is flinging kunai and Neji doesn't give a shit, right? He just rotations shit to flex it. As soon as he runs up to Naruto faster than Naruto can perceive or respond to, when he knows about the gentle fist and that Neji can just like make the first hit the last hit, right? And then with Ninetales mode, Neji is fighting someone who's bouncing around the walls of the arena, like Rock Lee ping ponging, not in fifth gate speed, but like arguably at least second gate, right? Because second gate Lee, like weightless first gate Lee isn't doing anything to Neji. So like this like second to third gate speed character in Naruto with his Kyuubi chakra is like fighting against a dude who is roughly, well, I guess the problem with Naruto, right, is that like Naruto bounding around the arena can't do anything against Tamari, right? Because he's not gonna have all of his Tenketsu shut off so that he gets the red chakra. Even if he got the red chakra, he's not fighting Tamari efficiently. Neji actually might no sell some of those attacks. Like Shikamaru was able to navigate away from the wind. I actually think Neji could do the same. I think Neji could even like Neji is equally rotating a kunai wielding like red nine tails fox chakra aided full restored Naruto. Bro, there's no like what technique does Tamari have that is Nine Tails cloak level? And I know I said that Tamari beats Naruto. That's because one, I don't think that Nine Tails cloak, like Nine Tails Naruto, is actually going to like manifest because he's not going to get all the stuff knocked out of him. And then even if it does manifest, like Tamari is just better in every other way. She can make those same like rotation attacks at a distance. I guess that implies that like, do you think that? So the way you have to scale this right is Naruto with red chakra swinging a kunai is equal to Neji's rotation. Right? Actually, it's weaker than the rotation because the rotation sends Naruto underground, right? And Neji thinks it's probable and reasonable to see the shadow clone that was injured as if that was the real Naruto. Like he thinks that that's a reasonable way for that to have gone down. And then like if you think that Tamari's fan is, let's say it's equal strength to Naruto's like red nine tails cloak kunai swing, right? Let's say it's equal, which is like a pretty good buff to Tamari, right? Then that just means that Neji can rotation everything that Tamari does. All he has to do is get close. And Neji's reacting to Ninetales Cloak Naruto moving at second to third gate speeds around the arena, right? And catching him and never losing sight of him and like never getting diffed by speed. He's never getting blitzed. Bro, there's no way that someone with combat speed of second or third gate Lee equivalent Naruto is getting like folded by a Tamari who like did get caught up by Shikamaru. I guess this might imply that Tamari loses to Naruto. It's more like Naruto loses to Tamari because there are way more scenarios where she wins. And the easy way he has to win of summoning Gamabunta just doesn't actually happen. Um, and the problem for Tamari is that Naruto is a bit dumb, so there's something to work with there. Neji fought that same dumb Naruto and he literally lost to being overpowered. And if we don't think Tamari's gonna overpower Neji, then Neji's not only smarter, but Tamari can't just like mentally smack her like Tamari can't mentally smack Neji down, and she can't overpower him. And then like the final nail in the coffin here is that Neji like Neji against the Sound 4 is fighting a dude who's so far away that he cannot perceive him, right? He's like unknowably distant, and Neji still wins. Like, and it's not implied that he got that much stronger, and he didn't need any help to do it. So, like, I don't think that Tamari, unless she, like, just somehow has access to her blow open the whole forest thing, which would have immediately won her the battle, by the way. This would have been like in the same section as when she fought Shikamaru. She would have immediately won against Shikamaru if she had like blow up the arena level wind jutsu with her fan. She didn't use it. It's implied, thus, like we can reasonably determine that she didn't have it at that time. Neji's not like getting forest. He might get forest cleared, but it's so unlikely that it does happen. We actually do just have to give it to Neji here. I think we do just say that like Neji actually somehow manages the W here. He's just as smart. He's just not. He's like Tamari to Shikamaru. Neji is to Tamari in terms of brain, and she's not more powerful than him. So it's like it's not happening. Gaara versus Kankuro. Kankuro voids his fucking pants. So Kankuro at this point forfeits anyways because he doesn't want to show like what he can do for the Konoha Crush arc. I think if Kankuro like wanted to and went all out, he would still get destroyed by like I don't know, by like that the hair on the back of Gaara's neck might actually one shot Kankuro. Like I don't know how Kankuro's as a puppet wielder deals with sand at all. Like at all. I don't even know like no there's no way, dude. There's no way Gaara like Omega stomps. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, we finally got here. We got to the end. We have Neji versus Gaara. I hate to be like disappointing. Gaara wins and it's not even close. Like this is actually like Gaara punches down so hard in this contest, dude. Like I don't want it to just be like Gaara wins and then crushes the whole village, right? It's not like that. But Gaara is definitely the winner of this tournament, dude. Like, because Neji, like, I was making up all those reasons for why, like, Neji should just be able to deal with what Tamari's attacks are. But the problem is, there's only a couple ways to argue that Gaara wins, or that Gaara loses, I'm sorry. So, like, the first way you say is that, like, Neji's Gentle Fist is just of superior taste and quality, and he can actually gentle fist the chakra of like Gaara's dead mom and Shukaku away from the sand. He can like gentle fist the sand away because his combat speed is just omega high. And then you could say that like Neji's rotation can block the sand forever as long as he keeps using it. And then you could say that like Neji's 64 palms pierces through, like ignores durability, pierces through Gaara's sand armor, and then just like solves the entire problem. And then once you do all of that, Gaara just has Shukaku and just stomps the entire village. Like, so here's a couple of things. Like, Neji's 64 palms, yeah, it's fast. Like, and you might say that, like, Neji's hand combat speed, let's pretend that Neji's hand speed movement is, like, weightlessly. It's like so fast, right? That let's just pretend that it's like so fast that Gara can't perceive it and his sand can't keep up. Okay, but his whole body isn't that fast, right? Like Sasuke and leaving that fast was like, yeah, sure. But here's the other thing: Neji looked disturbed by how fast Rock Lee was, right? Like Rock Lee got done super dirty by having a prelims fight against Gara because like Kakashi's taken off his Sharingan to see how fast Rock Lee is moving. Neji is like aghast. He's like, people are asking, like, that's Lee? Like, they can't even believe it. They can't perceive him. Like, elite Jonin can't perceive him without, like, ocular genjutsu, like, ocular powers and dojutsu boosting their ability to perceive it, or being Guy who like literally lives in the speed of the fifth gate of the gates, right? Like who could just understand and perceive and fight while in the gates so we can see what's going on when Lee uses it, right? Like all this crazy shit is happening. Like Rock Lee is omega fast, and Neji looks shooketh. Neji can't even believe it. So like, let's say Neji is not fifth gate Lee's speed or doing fifth gate Lee damage, right? And then that's being generous. That's being like Konoha Crush isn't about to happen. Gara didn't go into his perfect sand shield. Gara doesn't just like sand tsunami the entire fucking arena, which he certainly could. He just sand tsunami is the whole thing, right? Just knocks it all down. It's really, really important to notice in the confines only of when Sasuke and Gara were fighting in the semifinals. Only then, not when like Konoha Crush and they fight outside in the forest and whatnot. Sasuke does manage to pierce the perfect shield of Gara, but one, Gara is using sand, and Sasuke is using lightning, which is super effective against sand, like or earth-based jutsu, right? That's just what lightning is. It's just like really good against earth jutsu. And Gara is like using his earth elemental style protective wall, and Sasuke has a jutsu in Chidori that is like Kakashi's signature copy of what happens when you add like nature transformations to the Rasengan but fail, right? Like Kakashi, who became a Kage, right? Who became a Hokage, who's a very elite Jonin, like super elite Jonin for the Leaf, like maybe one of the strong, like one of, if not the strongest Jonin in the Leaf Village, right? Kakashi, who got the technique base of the Rasengan from Minato, the fourth Hokage, right? Slash Jiraiya, one of the legendary three Sanin, right? Like, and who himself knows the Rasengan. So, like, this Chidori is like a Kage, like a fuck, maybe like if you think Lightning Cable is stronger, and it might not even be like maybe Kakashi's Lightning Cable isn't even as strong as Chidori, but it probably is because he uses it more. Chidori's like an A rank, like Chidori is capable with variations of interacting with the Shroud of the Raikage. Like, hello? This is like an A or S rank lightning jutsu being used by Sasuke, who's amping himself and his understanding and reaction speed and like all of this with the powers of the Sharingan, and he hits a non-moving Gara with all the advantages you could ever ask for of like precog, dojutsu, bet like boosting, elemental mastery, like strong, one of the strongest jutsu of its nature in the world, and that causes Gaara to bleed. That's what causes Gaara to bleed. What the fuck is Neji gonna do in comparison? Like, is Neji. First off, Neji can't rotate infinitely. The sand is just gonna surround and try to crush him. Even if you say the sand is like blown away, there's literal like tsunamis of sand that you see in the Gaara versus Rock Lee fight, right? Literal tsunamis and sand coffins that just like completely surround a body and crush it to death from density and sand like moving into the open space known as the air particles and blood gushing out of bodies, right? So Neji can't rotate that forever. Let's say Neji 64 palms Gara and it works. Well, the sand isn't even Gara's like sand. The sand isn't even manipulated necessarily by his chakra. It's like manipulated by the sentient will of his mother to protect his life. Alternatively, it's manipulated by an external chakra entity in Shukaku. Like, what the hell? Dude, Neji is just getting destroyed. I'm sorry, not sorry, but like, Neji, this is what you get, like, for having a pretty weak run through. Like, I actually think Neji can lose to more than just Gaara here, right? Obviously, he could lose to Naruto. He could lose to some other people as well. But there we go. Like, uh, yeah, Sasuke never reaches his full potential. Gaara just crushes Neji, and then Gaara transforms into Shukaku, and then Naruto hasn't like overcome his beef with Neji, but he did beat Sasuke, so he's not like roided out to try and beat Shukaku. Shukaku crushes the whole village. Orochimaru still gets his hand sealed, though it's debatable whether or not that happens. But maybe Shukaku doesn't crush the whole village. Like Konoha did fight off the ninth, did fight off the nine-tailed fox. So maybe they don't get crushed immediately. It's possible. They as a village were capable of contending with the Nine Tails. So, but with all of that said, I think that's it. It's taken 2 hours. We've run through the randomizer of the Chunin exams. What do you think, Rain? Anything you would add to this? Anything you would change? Would you want to do this again? All right. Well, hearing none. After this, we'll figure out what to do. But for now, we gonna stop streaming. Take care, and I'll see if I can come up with something else. Bye.